Welcome in, everybody, to another episode. College Football Insiders, joined as always by Quentin Mills, who's got a helmet on, Todd, and Nick. What in the bleep are you doing?
The boys are back right there.
Oh, gosh.
We're hard hitting again. Hard hitting. Got
I
to
couldn't
celebrate.
decide if I want it to be PC
Listen,
or not.
they're back. They're playing defense. I don't have stickers like SVP does, but for college game day, whatever, ESPN after, but we're going to slap a sticker on that.
I thought it was an Illinois hat there, or helmet for a second.
No. I haven't seen this defense since probably 2013, 2014. It's been nice.
I mean, after the last 5 games they have this season, we'll see if you're still saying that or not.
Well, listen, we're going to live in this moment, Nick. We'll both be sitting on the couch watching the same team in the national championship, or the two teams that won't be in it. So let's stay over there.
I think my team will be in the playoff, though. We'll just get whooped first round.
Well, listen.
If you're in, you're in.
May get another week out of it, is what he's saying. His season will be a week longer.
Right.
Okay, biggest takeaways from week 8. Q?
Texas.
What shocked you the most? Let's start there.
I'll be honest, the game, and it's not on here, that shocked me the most was Oklahoma. I don't think South Carolina is as good as maybe they've shown. I think LSU played a down first half in their game. I think Alabama played down in that competition because we've seen both teams play really good football. But, man, I was shocked to see Oklahoma get blasted against Texas. Thought they'd regroup against a beatable South Carolina team and then just get punched in the mouth again. They're not ready for the SEC. And the same with Texas. Texas, the score is 30-15. I mean, I know it's a double-digit score, but it feels like it was like 30-3 in all honesty. I mean, they got beaten all facets of the game. So I think as good as they've looked, they really shit the bed against the SEC's best. I mean, maybe they need to go back to the Big 12.
Darth Ducky, what shocked me was the trash quarterback play from Texas, Georgia.
Yeah, both look terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Or 3, I should say.
Ken, welcome back. Michigan still has absolutely no offense. Yeah. So for those that missed the preview show, I was out in Las Vegas feeling really good. My card Saturday absolutely shit the bed. Arkansas, dead wrong on that. And I'll get into that in a little bit because I'm going to have a little rant. Illinois just curb stomped Michigan. Michigan, once again, as soon as you start thinking, maybe they can figure it out, they should be able to run the ball. They can't. They have no offense. Just an absolute great game in the morning slate with Miami-Louisville. But that line closed, I think, 5, and it was always a touchdown game. Congrats to Miami. You finally looked really good on offense and didn't have to get into a scrappy fight with what I felt was an inferior opponent because I didn't feel like Louisville was. They just didn't get the cover. BYU, miraculous game Friday night in the comeback win against Oklahoma State. I really thought the Cowboys had that one locked up. Couldn't get it done. Congrats to BYU. You stay undefeated. Tennessee, Alabama, that was probably the biggest question mark I had on the board. I felt like Alabama was good enough to win. Ended up not playing the spread, took Alabama money line. That blew up in my face. Jalen Milroe played a terrible game. And it wasn't that Tennessee played great. They just did enough to win. It's kind of my recap there. As Ken says, my Wolverines might not win another game. It's a shame. But you got that natty. That's fine. I would take Arkansas going 0-12 for like 5 straight seasons if I could get maybe like 7 if I could get a national championship. Who cares?
I don't know. It's pretty tough to watch Florida go back to back or 2 and 3 years and then just go on a losing streak. You were gonna regret saying that.
Hey, we went through 2-12 or 2 and 10 years with
we had a coach faking death threats, like
pretty much
bottom barrel.
It's pretty bad. I just sound
Nick,
like
I want to hear your take on
That's what I just did.
I want to hear Nick's take on Nico because right now, I'm not saying he won't be it, but right now he ain't it. Like he had a couple passes towards the end of the game, but for about 3.5 quarters, he looked like Todd Smith out in the backyard. I mean, it was just that bad.
Thanks. Makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah, let me okay, a couple things. Let's see, how would we feel, because I was thinking about this Sunday. I was like, what if the perception of Tennessee was completely different? Like, say this was Michigan, say this was maybe now like Oklahoma or Auburn, where it's like, we think of a team where you think of this is a defense first type team. Would you have thought as badly of Tennessee if that's the perception coming in? No. Like, you'd be like, okay, this is what I expect. Like, they haven't allowed 20 points the entire season. Jalen Milroe, who's been possibly the best player in the country, was running for his life, couldn't complete passes, had guys in his face. You know, he didn't have a single run that was like double-digit yards the entire night. Like, that's almost unthinkable. His longest run of the night was 9 yards, and it was a third down scramble. So I think when you think of Tennessee as a defense first team instead of like a hypo-led, like, hey, this is a high power, they're going to put 50 on you everyday offense, I think that changes everything. Because that's what they were. Like, you could tell, like, Heupel changed it in about like the end of the first quarter. They're like, our defense is real. Like, Alabama's not going to put up 30, and we're not going to be having to chase them. Like, let's get what we can get. Nico made his mistakes in the first half. Like, yeah, like that. I mean, that was ugly. That looked like a true 19-year-old who was in a big game at home where he felt just all the pressure. But then second half, what Tennessee have, I think they ended up with 280 something yards in the second half alone. And he was on every throw, didn't have a single turnover in the second half. Like, that ball, how many quarterbacks in the country, that ball rolling out to the right where Dante Thornton literally straight over his shoulder, like, how many quarterbacks can make that throw? It was 48 yards in the air and just on the dot. Like, that's where you can see the arm talent. He just has to get rid of the turnovers. But this was still a Dylan Sampson game. I mean, ran for over 100 yards in the second half alone. I mean, Tennessee still got to 24. So it's like, yes, the offense is still a question, but this defense, I think if people had questions about it, like, could they stop an elite offense? Those were all answered. Like, this defensive line is real.
For sure.
Yeah, my takeaway is a game that's not on here too. And I mean, it's a team Nick's been talking about and backing a lot each week. Is I was shocked what Indiana did. I mean, I thought they were going to win the game.
Oh, man.
But I mean, that was again, it's just a Nebraska team that can't win a big game at all. And what they did in Nebraska, they embarrassed them. Quarterback got hurt. Backup came in, I think, at halftime and still threw a ton of points on them. So like we said, that's a team that's going to continue to be favored in every game except the Ohio State game. They lose that game. One lost team. They still have a great chance to get in the playoffs and maybe should be, but we'll see what they do this week. But the backup looked okay, but that team's just clicking right now. So they're a machine.
Well, one of our followers, and I'm going to get in on this Arkansas thing. He deleted the original tweet, but basically I got called out for posting that I knew the Arkansas game was out of hand. And I get that Q is the reverse jinx king. I don't do reverse jinxes, especially against Arkansas. But I mean, he came after me that I was just a fan and we're a couple of bros betting and
unprofessional. Yeah.
I watch these games. Okay. I understand X's and O's of football. Taylon Green is only good on his first read. LSU was taking that away. He missed a dozen reads. Went back and watched it. Watched the whole game again because I like misery. The amount of times that he had Luke Haas or Isaac Tesla over the middle wide open, but was trying to fire to Broden or Armstrong on the outside, you've got to take what the defense gives you. And he's still young, but he's still not ready to run a Bobby Petrino offense because the plays are there. And I got into arguments with friends. Like, Petrino really hadn't lost a step. If you go back and watch it, the offense could move the ball if they tried. They can't because Taylor Green is limited in what he can do. Number two, LSU was getting that hitch route every single play. We could not get pressure on Nussmeier. That's hats off to. I think they've only given up 2 sacks all season long. Our guys were not ready to face an offensive line like that. Landon Jackson couldn't get after Garrett Nussmeier. The times that he did, Nussmeier threw a bad throw. We had 2 interceptions in LSU's end zone that we dropped. When I'm seeing this play out, I know that there's no way Arkansas is going to be able to turn it around. So it wasn't a reverse jinx. I'm not going to bet against my team, especially when I'm already riding a ticket on win total for the season, which this game would have eclipsed if we won it, or the straight up bet that I made on them. But take this information. I'm literally sitting here watching it in the biggest sports book on earth. I see it. I see what's going on, and I'm giving you my opinion on how you can turn this around and make money, because LSU had completely outmatched us on those first 2 drives. I knew it was over. We were not going to come back. So there you go. There's my spiel on it. Sorry, but we just got completely outmatched. And when you're dropping interceptions, that you're definitely not going to win. We played very flat. And it reminded me of how we were crappy last year. We went to Gainesville. Sorry, Q. We beat Florida, who wasn't that great either, in overtime, came home and scored 3 points at home on homecoming against a bad Mississippi State team.
AJ had a damn good outfit, though.
We looked flat.
Can I say something about Michigan? Because Ken just wrote it in the chat. He goes, I had flashbacks of Rich Rod. Hey, Ken, the thing about Rich Rod, though, at least they scored like 60. They give up 70, but at least they were entertaining games and everything. Yeah. Here's my quick rant. What was more of a bad decision? The head coach hiring that guy, or what they looked in that quarterback room and said, yep, we're okay?
Do you think, let me ask you this, do you think, and this is for anybody, so they just kind of hand Sharon Moore the job, right? Like there was really no other discussion about any other potential coach. You knew that they were gunning for Michigan for, all the cheating scandals and everything. Do you think they hired him maybe an behind closed doors conversation of like, look, even if he rolls out, are we still going to get hit with punishments? Like, is a coach going to want to deal with that? Or do we see what the NCAA is going to do with Sharon Moore? He'll be here a year or 2, and then we go get another massive name. Because this is bad. Like, at some point, you got to, and Smitty touched to it, like, University of Michigan can't even get Diego Pavia, but Vanderbilt can. Like, there had to have been a discussion out of fear that they were going to get hammered and it was going to be an unattractive job for a year or 2. So just ride it out.
I thought the same thing. And again, he stepped in and they beat Penn State at Penn State.
You're telling me he didn't have a game plan already, though, that he was.
I know, and that's the worst thing about it. Yeah. That was a bye week.
He just stood on the sideline for those 2
They
days.
knew that.
Let's be real.
They knew he was getting suspended. And
the worst thing too was Edwards was the main, like at the beginning of the game, they're giving it to Edwards. I'm sorry.
Mullins
by far is their best running back. Why is he not running the ball? It's a disgrace coming off a bye. They look like they had no clue what to do. That defensive coordinator is overrated. He's not any good either. I think somebody said he's one of the highest paid defensive coordinators in the nation. He's not any good. You had the main guy get hurt on defense, and you're going to see more and more of that. You're going to have some of their star players here. They're going to be out. They're going to get ready for the NFL draft. They'll be done. They'll be lucky, like Ken said, if they win one more game.
Let's get off this awful Michigan team. Let me talk real quick about my kind of take on just the Georgia Texas real quick.
Sure, yeah.
This was a perfect show of this was back to Kirby Smart, how Kirby Smart became Kirby Smart. Like the last few years at Georgia, he's been able to get away with, hey, my defense is just so big, bad, and powerful that I don't have to scheme much up. We will just beat you man to man. This year, he knows he doesn't have it. this was a masterclass. Like, this was back when he had some of those Bama defenses. Like, some of those calls, like what that late nickel blitz that he ran off, like the blind slide that led to a Quinn Ewers fumble, and then that drop 3 coverage where the corner came off the receiver, like after looking like he was in man press, and then getting an interception off that. This was Kirby. Like, you could tell, like, he spent all week going like, okay, I'm the defense coordinator again instead of the head coach. I'm getting in my bag, and here we go. And Texas had no answers, which was shocking. So that was kind of my takeaways. Like, when I watched it, it was like, dude, Kirby is dominating this game, just coach versus coach.
The defensive line just absolutely just manned up. I mean, because that a lot of people in that, you know, they think Texas has the best offensive line, and they had no answers.
No.
Yeah, tons of stunts, tons of everything on the back end. It was just that was.
You could see Quinn and Arch on the sidelines. Like, you look at their face, and it was like they had never seen anything.
Yeah,
almost like they were playing like an NFL speed team. Like, the game was going so fast, they had never seen anything like it. Like, it's your first time seeing 98 miles an hour when you're like 14 against a senior in fall ball, and this kid's like projected in the draft, and you don't know what to do. Like, that's kind of the vibe I got, and it shook them up. You could see it, both of them.
Yeah, that one to me, one of the only bets I won, but that was the easiest bet I feel like all weekend. Was why is Georgia such a big dog? I mean, I know 5 points didn't sound like a lot, but come on, it's Kirby Smart. You almost saw the script come out before, right? I mean, Georgia's already got a loss. Texas is riding high, just whoop the crap out of their rival. Then you run into Kirby Smart.
I do think if that's played
again,
I bet it's still, like, if they play in the playoffs at neutral, I bet it's still a pick 'em. Like, that was, like, when I saw that, like, that was Georgia playing. You could tell that was Georgia, like, on their back foot, saying this is a must-win game no matter what. And, like, Texas,
can they replicate that scheme?
I don't think they can.
Like,
I mean, that was the only game they played that well all season. Like, maybe you take out the second half versus Clemson game 1. Yes, they played well, but I think this was the best Georgia played all year, probably the worst Texas played. I think it's still pick them, like, on a neutral site if they play again in the playoff. And I don't know who I'd take.
And you know what we said too on the show last week? Who did Texas play?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Michigan. Okay, I mean, not good. Who was the other one we said? Oklahoma. Well, yeah, look at both what they did this past weekend. And Nick brought up about, you know, what quarterback, and it was
General Booty.
General Booty. There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, what'd you guys think of the benching with the quarterbacks, switching the quarterbacks? Do you think they did that too soon in that game?
I mean, it was only one drive. Like, they actually asked him afterwards, and they said it was one drive. They said it was actually planned at some point. Like, they didn't know when it was going to happen, but they wanted Arch to get a possession or two just to try to see, like, how much his legs will make a difference. It didn't make. I mean, he had one run that was about 18 20 yards, cool, but he was still running for his life. Ended up fumbling, like, on one play, like, so. I just think they said it was planned, but you saw after one drive, they went right back to Ewers, and he's still their guy.
So the updated IPR over at www.collegefootballinsiders.com would make Georgia -2 on a neutral against Texas.
Next,
that
right
being right. Here's the AP Top 25. Congratulations. The Oregon Ducks are on top. That said, they're second in our power ratings. I think Georgia right now is probably the best team in the country on a level playing field. But I'm not going to lie. I love that Oregon Duck emblem right there at the number 1 spot. How long do they ride that, though?
I mean, how much were we telling people after the first few weeks? Like, don't panic. Like, we know how good we know how talented this team is. Like, everybody's like going crazy because they have a close. They only win by what, 10, I think, against Idaho. Boise State has turned out to be obviously a top 25 very good team. So now that doesn't look anywhere near as bad.
Yeah,
so
Boise State's a wagon.
Yeah, it's like, be patient. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, here we are back at number 1, just kind of like everybody thought they were a top 5 team to begin the season with. So, yeah, I don't think people should be too surprised.
They have Illinois this weekend. Then they go to Michigan. They have Wisconsin, who's playing a lot better. Wisconsin just kind of like flipped a switch. And they've got Washington and Maryland. I mean, Oregon could finish the season 12-0 pretty easily.
Yeah.
Anything else? Just like we all thought, Army, Navy, Vanderbilt, rounding out your top 25.
Indiana, and they're at 13.
Deservedly so.
Pitt Panthers
Illinois.
there at 19. They had a low win total.
Kurt Signetti is, I tweeted this out, that he's a damn cheat code. Like, he has got it figured out right now. And I know they're like 114th strength schedule. I'm not going to lose my marbles over this and think that Indiana is going to make a deep playoff run or anything. But, I mean, what he's done, it's impressive. And he just absolutely took Matt Rule and that Nebraska team to the woodshed.
Yeah, but they get the right matchup. Tell me they can't make it to the next round. Absolutely.
What's the status on Rourke? Is he hurt?
Surgery.
They said week to week.
Yeah, had surgery, and they think November 2nd. I believe it's against Michigan State. I think I read that today. So they said it sounded a lot more positive. Some of the things I read that he's going to be back a lot quicker than what they kind of thought was going to happen.
Truett said hi, Nick. Hey, Zach. Thanks for watching. All right, let's look at
different teams for sure.
Let's look at the updated Heisman odds. Ashton Genty and Cam Ward sit at your top, and then Dylan Gabriel. Look who there. He's right back in it. And if you took him, whatever it was before the Ohio State game, it's like 13 or 14-1. Looking good. Can you make a case for Cade Klubnik, though? His odds just keep getting slashed in half week in, week out. This is one of the hot teams. I know Nick, Todd, you guys have talked about him. Is there anything here?
I don't know. It's outside of the Georgia game. Like, it's a super weak schedule. I mean, they are mowing the teams down, but I think what's going to hurt him is what weeks to play. Like, the Heisman's decided essentially before the playoffs, correct? Yeah. So I think he would need a playoff run and win in the playoffs to secure that. Like, I don't think his schedule, when you compare him to Cam Ward, who can run them. I guess.
But he'll play Cam Ward. I think that's kind of at Ward being plus 250, Klubnik.
I mean, can we really talk about anybody else outside of what Ashton Genty's doing? Like, the guy's breaking Barry Sanders' record.
Big game Friday night on TV. That's going to be, if he puts on a show and they beat UNLV, because that's a good UNLV team, then his odds. Because, real quick, and then I'll let everyone else go. Hunter now's banged up. I mean, he's done. You don't know how he's going to play. Back again, turning the ball over too much. So, and, Cam Ward, you saw it with Miami. They're going to just keep throwing and throwing and throwing and scoring because they can't stop anybody. So it's going to be high scoring games, and he'll put up numbers.
All right, let's look at the odds to make the college football playoff. Still Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia at your top. Penn State minus 750, Miami minus 400. Nothing really there for me, but I want to talk about LSU and Texas A&M. They're both sitting at minus 110. They are your leaders in the SEC right now. They have not lost an SEC game. They play this weekend, obviously, and what's the biggest game on the board? Do you just bet one of these teams instead of betting on their game this weekend? Like, do you think one of these two teams are going to make the playoff?
The winner probably does, because I think even the winner at worst probably ends up with 2 losses.
10-2.
Yeah. So you're talking about a 10-2 SEC team. And if you're A&M, one of your losses is Notre Dame, who most likely is going to end up in the playoff, even as like a 9 to 11 seed somewhere. LSU's losses haven't been neither team has a bad loss. So it's like whoever wins this game is also picking up a good quality win. And like I said, you end up with 2 losses in the SEC. I'm pretty sure that gets you in.
Yeah, USC was a bad loss for LSU now because USC is just completely falling apart. But Alabama
worth a take.
Alabama minus 105. BYU looks good. I mean, they skated by against Oklahoma State, but they got the win.
They got an easy schedule.
Talk about sketch. I saw this earlier today. The sketchy questionable line of the week. Did you guys see what that BYU line is this week?
Yeah.
They are underdogs to UCF. Make it make sense. Does somebody know something? Because that UCF team seems like we've talked about it. Seems like they've quit. and now BYU is a 1.5 underdog. I know it's in Orlando, but it's not like that's a crazy home field advantage right now. So I don't know. That's one of those like
4 in a row though. Like
that's one of those like I don't know. Just you have to. Somebody knows something that I don't know somehow, and I don't.
Stay away.
It's so scary.
Yeah,
Missouri plus 200 doesn't make sense to me. They probably should have lost to Auburn, but Auburn's trash. But that 4.5 was never in doubt. I think I said my buddy that pretty square better. He said, "Why is my Missouri only minus 4.5? Seems too easy. What am I missing?" Well, that's usually what you're missing.
And that team gets behind, and they always come back.
All right, odds to win the national championship as we round out looking into the future. Anything here? Again, Georgia's still, I think, in the driver's seat, despite the loss. It's crazy. Ohio State plus 400 for those taking us in podcast form. Texas plus 475. Oregon plus 500. Next shortest shot, Penn State 13-1.
It's still those
listen,
top
if Tennessee could figure out on offense, plus 1,500 is a steal. The defense can compete with any of those teams up there. They just got to figure out how to. I don't know if he's nerves or he's just. I don't know. The game's starting to get too fast for him against these tough teams. They've got to get Nico going faster than the second half. But the defense, again, they can compete with any of the teams. It's just what can they score enough?
You look at that Penn State team, 2 really good running backs, the tight end's a stud, and the quarterbacks improved this year, getting the ball down the field. Pretty good defense. I
just don't trust their coach.
No, I don't. I don't either. But I mean, you look, man. If you play somewhere, on campus and it's cold and bad conditions, they can really run the ball. And I don't know, Penn State. I mean, we'll see this big game this weekend at night to go to Wisconsin. We'll see, like you said, Matt, Wisconsin's starting to click a little bit.
All right, Q.
Bad week.
I thought you were going to act like your screen froze.
I know.
No, it's bad week. I mean, Oklahoma, I touched on them. Fell apart. I don't know what to make of Rutgers. I thought they were in a great bounce back spot against UCLA, who's really not that great of a team. I mean, they were dominated all game, which is surprising. Texas Tech, I mean, who in the world would have thought they'd have lost by 17 to Baylor? And then Iowa State, again, that UCF team looked like it quit. And they punched Iowa State in the mouth. And Iowa State, you could tell it's like they just didn't really care as long as they got the win. They didn't seem motivated. They didn't seem focused. And, it was a tough week.
And Nick?
Yeah. I had a pretty positive week. I believe 8-5 overall in my bets. Just having trouble picking these 3, the best 3 to put up here. Bama, Tennessee, I will admit, I just got that one completely wrong. Like, I can admit when that one was wrong, wouldn't play that again. Total ended up at 41. It played out completely different than I thought. Didn't think I knew Tennessee's defense was good. Didn't think it was that good. Miami team total basically hit in the first half. That was a no doubter. And then Georgia, Texas, like looking at it, I don't hate that number again. Like you think there was 5 different possessions inside the 30 that ended up with 0 points, like combined. Like that couldn't be replicated again. Between 3 turnovers, a missed field goal, and I can't remember, there was one more. But there were 5 possessions combined within the 30 that ended up in 0 points. Like, I don't see that happening again. This game still ended up at 45. So you're talking basic, like I was almost a field goal and a touchdown away from this still hitting. So yeah, don't hate that play. Just don't think I got that wrong either. Just missed, which happens.
Smitty.
Yeah, 7-2 last 3 weeks. So let's just keep it going. Hey, like Nick just said, one game that I just completely missed was the Baylor Texas Tech. I talked about 20-mile-per-hour winds, 40-mile-per-hour gusts. You could hear it watching the game on TV. It started slow, but it never slowed down again. It went way over. So that was a really bad play by me. Georgia, yeah, I agree with what Matt said earlier in the show. I loved the 4.5. I said it went up to 5 on some sites, but I thought that was an easy play. And I was on the over with the Miami Louisville game. And like Nick said, that was just high scoring and that was really easy. So you look bad on one under bet, but the one over was an easy play. So yeah, let's stay hot.
Yeah. What did Texas Tech, what did they score in that game combined? Like 100?
Yeah, it was like 90. I think, 90.
It's pretty insane.
90 something. Yeah.
All right, and get my trash card out of the way. Georgia, Texas. Nick already touched on that one. Arkansas just dead. Notre Dame even gave me a scare there in the first half. I think they were only up 7, 14-7 or something like that, but they ended up getting that done. Next week, like Smitty said, I'm really excited about this Boise State UNLV game. I've been high on UNLV. Obviously, what Ashton Genty is doing with Boise State, it's going to be an electric game. But the headliner right there at the top, LSU, Texas A&M, I think that game is going to be really good. May not be Georgia, Alabama good, but I think you've got two really solid teams that I didn't give a whole lot of credit to, especially in the preseason. And like I said earlier, they sit atop the SEC. And then Vanderbilt, Texas makes the card as number 5 takes on 25. Do the Doors have another upset in them? I don't know. Anything else on this board y'all are excited to talk about? Ken did say Wisconsin is a trap game for Penn State on the road. I agree. That's why I added it in here. I'm excited because Wisconsin is playing a lot better than that showing they had against Alabama earlier in the season. Penn State, they looked good against Illinois, but it's really their toughest test on the road against West Virginia. Okay. But
where's the Notre Dame Navy game?
Big game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Maddie, come on.
We will
SMU
cover
Duke.
it.
You put Duke on here.
Yeah, that is pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
It. Calm down.
Well.
I thought I'd jump in before Nick was going to have a nervous breakdown, so I thought I'd jump in there.
Those eyes were moving.
They were. Boise State UNLV. Another way to approach this too is I can't remember what their odds were, but if you want to talk about odds to make the college football playoff, if you want to bet that this way, you're going to get a better number on either team's money line like that way. Because I think you're looking at there's a really good chance, especially Boise State. If Boise State wins this game, they are, unless they completely just crap a bet against somebody that's way lower than them, they should be in the college football playoff. UNLV, if they win this, they probably jump Boise as the top either one or two teams. It's going to be the group of 5 rep. So I would almost play it that way. Like if you're looking for like a side way to play this game, take whoever you think will win and play them to make the playoff.
I like that.
We've got football tonight. It's the Miami Vice night.
Yeah, kind of have football tonight.
Hey.
It's like intramurals.
Uniform bet. No, I don't know. Sam Houston, they look good. FIU, not so good. Our website makes Sam Houston -6. That's about what the line is. Total, though, little discrepancy there. 54.5 on our projections, but 45.5 on the line. Y'all playing anything tonight? We've also got UTEP versus Louisiana Tech. Absolute barn burner there. Projections have Louisiana Tech -0.27 points, so it could be close. Do you want to back a UTEP team, though, getting 7.5 that hadn't won a game all year? Can I interest you guys in some Tuesday night football?
I'll check the score. Nothing to play. You might as well just put money down the drain.
Oh, it's Tuesday night. We'll find something.
Smitty will be on something, and then he'll
I guarantee I'll be on
something. To us in
something.
our chat about losing it, and just like, I blew it at the end.
Yeah. We had him.
We
had him right where they wanted him.
I'll probably
play. You got the NBA starting tonight too, so we may find something in that. So there'll be something out of the card.
The what?
Exactly.
The NBA. What is starting tonight?
NBA. Let's go. Just keep an eye. I don't watch it. You just keep an eye on the scores, but there's always something to bet.
There's always something to bet. I'm betting the over first quarter 10 minus 105 in FIU Sam Houston. There we go. Official play. Because I teased it on my Twitter. So I feel like I got to give something out. Plus, remember, we're just a bunch of bros hanging out. Talking ball.
Unprofessional bros.
Yeah.
At least
yeah, projections lean over. So there you go. All right, that wraps it up. We will see you guys for the week 9 preview show. When are we doing it? Let everybody know. Thursday, Friday. What works best for y'all?
I'm good with either.
Oh, Thursday.
Thursday it is.
Tennessee fall ball game Friday afternoon.
Nice. All right. Until Thursday, cash some tickets, you degenerates. Bet these games. We're still in the sports equinox. We got college football or NFL every single night. And until Thursday, cheers.